Well, Leo, welcome. It's Tinker, Tarot, and Cartomancy here to do your November 25 reading. And interesting it is. Um, I'm going to start off right away with the Sacred Rebels Oracle. And the card you got is the very last card in the deck. It's number 45, called Pandora's Gift. And this is a kind of a culmination of everything we've been through, all the triumphs and sorrows and achievements and defeats and everything, and what we've learned about ourselves in the process. And in Pandora's Gift, we realize who we are, really. We realize that we have made mistakes, we have done things wrong, but we realize our mistakes. Like, you need to realize, you need to have awareness of what you've done and learn from it, right? That's the important thing, is learn from the lesson that you just had. And so there is no shame in the learning process. There's no shame in that. We need to make mistakes in order to learn something in that process, right? So there's no shame. You forgive yourself and you move on, and you've grown a huge amount. You've learned from this whole process, and hopefully why you've gone through it. So I feel like right now in your life, Leo, you've ended a cycle, okay? And this cycle was some sort of it might have been difficult in some way to the heart. I feel to the heart it was hard on you. And but now you're beginning a new cycle, and you've changed in this, what you've been through. You've changed. You've become more compassionate, more loving, um, kinder to yourself and others. Like, you've given yourself forgiveness, and you've realized that there's, like we all need to, is there's two parts of ourselves. There's this animal side, of this animal instinct and raw needs, and then there's the side that our parents raised us with, values and ideals and goals, and, right from wrong and all that, which clashes with our animal side a little bit. But here's where you learn to balance that. You balance that, okay? So, what you have here to begin with is the King of Pentacles. And the King of Pentacles represents success. And this person has all the comforts of home and living the good life and can relax, almost retirement, doesn't mean retirement, but it's that kind of feeling. But it looks like you're walking away from this idea of success. It served you for a time, when you thought that's what life was, what you needed in your life to feel like you were successful. But I think you're leaving this idea behind of material success, of things and stuff like that, and you're looking for something more meaningful now. Okay, so in the past, or in the recent past, you have the Sun, the Lovers, and the Five of Wands. So this could have been way in the past. This could have been when you were young and you had all these high ideals, and you knew what you wanted, or you thought you did at that time, and that was good for that time. And you were successful. You were successful. And then you met the other side of yourself, that animal side, that conscious and unconscious side of ourselves, and it begins to awaken, and you make choices that could be carnal choices, that um that is okay. You went through a learning process. And then came the Five of Wands, where there became disputes about this, conflict about this, about these choices that you made. Now, these choices don't have to be carnal. They're everything we do, we make a choice. And so, but based on some of the choices that you made, because we get in kind of a dreamy state where we like, oh, I'd like this, I'd like that giant house, whether we can really afford that giant house or not. We want it, we make the choice to get it and end up in a dispute, end up in a situation. So some of your choices are leading to issues and problems that I feel like you made with a younger mind, this dreamy mind, this, out to conquer and succeed. In a lot of ways, the sun reminds me of you a lot, Leo, this card, because it's youthful, it's dreamy, it's not innocent, but what are they, naive a little bit, and also beautiful energy, because you're thinking of what's going to make you happy, right? And you go after it, you feel free. And then in the present, it looks like after this conflict, you know, you could feel a bit defeated, and you go into hibernation, let's say, into the hermit mode, spending a lot of time alone. You may even have a pet that is your companion. And this is spending a lot of time alone thinking and thinking and thinking, and trying to find the light, trying to see the light. But it's very difficult because it's dark and shadowy, and, it's hard to see the right way. But this is spending a lot of time doing that, okay? And I think spending this time doing that is making you cold in some way. It's closed, shut down your heart, your feelings. You get very analytical, perhaps, you know, only with the facts. Like, you don't consider the heart or other people's hearts a difficulty, vulnerabilities. And it's because you yourself feel vulnerable. You have gone through, like, the Queen of Swords has a broken heart, and she's got it tucked so far back in there you can't even see it, and it's hardened her a little bit. And so I feel like you were hardened through some sort of experience. It could have been through a relationship experience. It could have been through, some of these choices that you made. But anyway, I don't think you feel like you did anything wrong, and maybe you didn't. You didn't do anything wrong. You're standing with your head tall, but you're kind of hardened, okay? And at this point, you're willing to move forward slowly, carefully, because you feel very vulnerable. You don't trust people. You don't trust the system. There's a lot that you don't trust because you've learned, you've done your research, and and so but there's these two sides of you, right? This right and wrong side. And now you're starting to feel a little bit, but I don't think you want to show it, but you're moving slowly forward, carefully thinking of what you might want to do, kind of, you know, keeping an eye, okay? Now, for one moment, I want to go and take the cards. Instead of going sideways here, I want to go down, okay? Because this is also where you kind of start out again with this fresh, dreamy, freedom, lovely energy, right? Then you go into the hermit, where you're very alone and trying to find that light, trying to find the direction, trying to find what the truth is, using your logic and your wisdom, because you're a very smart person. And then in the Hermit, we can really get into our heads too much, overthinking, analyzing, blaming ourselves, feeling like the world's against us kind of thing, and a lot of regret here, a lot of maybe communication that might hurt you, damage you, even if it wasn't meant to. And so there's some damage being done here, right? And some of it's to yourself. You're doing it to yourself. And then, um, you know, going down this line, you begin with the Lovers making a choice, probably based on your heart. Your heart gets hardened here. And then you're at the Hanged Man. And the Hanged Man feels like there's nothing he can do or she can do. Like I can't say anything, I can't do anything. And you take a pause, you take a break, you just step back a little bit, right? And you hopefully realize that your vision or your look at the whole thing is limited, because the Hanged Man can only see what's there. He can't see behind the tree. He can't turn around and see what's behind him. And so we need to open up that part. We need to open up, be more objective, see all sides, right? And so I think that's what you're going to do. You're giving up this tunnel vision of how you kind of saw things, and it was black or white and that's it, and I think it's an old belief or um idea you had. And I think that this is the time when you're going to shed this, okay? And then you have Strength. So starts in conflict with your ideas, your dreams, your decisions, goes into forward movement in a vulnerable way, very carefully, and it moves into Strength. And now this is really beautiful because back here we had the Lovers, and realizing there was two sides of ourselves, even if we weren't totally conscious of it. And here we're completely conscious of it. There is an animal side to her, and there is a very dignified side to her where she feels proud of who she is. She has strength. She knows that she can access this part of herself if she wants to. She knows it's there. She knows it's a part of her, but she leads with this very dignified, proud stance. And it also is full of compassion and understanding and non judgment. She lays down her sword here. Here in the Queen, your sword is right up in front of you, protecting you, sword first, right? Here, it's laying down the sword. I don't need to fight. I don't need to prove myself. I don't need to explain myself. You know, I know who I am, and I'm okay with it. That some of that belongs to me, not to everybody. And so there is where you come to terms with these two parts of yourself. You come to terms and you're proud of who you are. Some of your family upbringing takes the forefront, and you realize that you know you need to be responsible, you need to know right from wrong and all that, and you can't just be all animal. You gotta be this balance. But it's really nice, and I feel like that's the new beginning, where you learn to balance these two sides of yourself, and you're okay with it. You don't feel any shame, or you don't feel any guilt and what you were feeling back here about all this. You come to terms with it, okay? Now, this is pretty deep, all this thing, but it's huge for you because I feel like you've been going through this in your head, in your life, for quite a while now. Let's see. How long would I say? What do we got here? Couple years, maybe. Couple years. Okay. So let's deal out this cartomancy. Here, we're going to move this stuff back a little bit. The card that jumped out for you is the Ten of Clubs. I'll show it to you. We'll talk about it while I'm dealing this out. Ten of Clubs. So the Ten of Clubs is a lot like the King of Pentacles. It is completion. It means an end. It means, and could be to a career that you once did, a line of work, or what you worked on in your life, a life's work where you, I think, have grown a lot, and matured a lot. And it means something else as beginning. Also means success. Like, I think that you were in some parts of it successful, even though you got into some sort of trouble or something, but or had conflict or had obstacles or people in your way that you just got in conflict with. But I feel like there were successes in this journey as well as defeats. So in the present, well, looky there. So this could be based on a relationship too. So you have the Queen of Swords, the King of Diamonds, and the Jack, not swords, spades. Jack of Spades. So here we see a relationship. This Queen of Spades is usually, it could be a dark-eyed, dark-skinned, dark-haired person. It generally means that she is single, not by choice. She's separated, widowed, divorced. Okay. And so, and usually hurt or has some sort of chip on his shoulder because of it. This could be a man too. This could be you, Leo. And then there is this figure, the King of Diamonds, who is usually seen as an older person, a mature person. And it doesn't look like these two people see eye to eye. This person can give advice, could have a lot of wisdom and experience under their belt, but these two can't seem to hear each other, perhaps, or understand each other. And some sort of trouble ensues. There could be another person in the mix, this younger person that gets into trouble, causes trouble, is trouble. But this card could be just trouble between these two. There's some sort of trouble. And because they can't see any similarities, they can't seem to understand each other. They don't see eye to eye and causes trouble. Okay. Oh, I wanted to say, what was I saying about this? I was thinking of it when I was talking about it. There also could be someone in the past, a past relationship back here, that you still pine over. You fought too much, or you fought over something, or you got a lot of flack for being together, or something like that. But I feel like this, for some of you, there could be someone from the past that you never really got over, and you carried a bit of a chip about that, about that you got gypped in the situation, you might feel like, or there might be a couple of situations you feel like you kind of got gypped in relationships. Anyway, getting back to the cartomancy. Ten of Spades, love seeing that. Jack of Hearts, Nine of Hearts. Wow, that is beautiful. Beautiful. So the Ten of Spades is also completion. This is completion of pain and misery that you've been going through. This plague, this weight that you've been carrying around. And this weight affects you and affects others, affects your relationships. But look at the big change here. The Knight of Hearts comes in. The Knight of Hearts is a compassionate message that you receive. Someone shows nurturing, someone shows caring, someone says something that you hear. And it's what you needed. It's what you really needed to help bring you out of this, is these compassionate words. And it also might teach you to be that. You're learning that if that healed you, that can heal others. It switched gears. It's really switching gears. Anyway, this message brings a wish to you, makes a wish happen, makes a wish begin. Okay. You also might hear from somebody that you were really wishing you would. I feel like this person could be younger than you, possibly. I feel like this person is laying their heart on the line. But in a lot of ways, I feel like it's you. I really feel like you're switching gears and you're deciding to lay down that sword. And it's going to change your life now. Above you, you have the Two of Spades, the King of Hearts, and the Eight of Hearts. So the Two of Spades is separation, it's division, it's going your separate ways. There was a breakup, a split. Maybe you just stopped talking to somebody for a while. You just couldn't see eye to eye. You couldn't get along, down here. Also, this king feels like he's wiser than this person. But anyway, here, this is the King of Cups. This person is usually a friend or a relative, could be a relative indeed, could be a man or could be a woman. This person has a good heart. I think this is someone you want to have a relationship, but found it difficult in the past, perhaps. And I feel like there's compassionate words, there's kind words, there's understanding, there's such a good conversation going on here that is well, it could be flirting. You could be flirting with someone that you're very attracted to. This could be someone that comes around you, or you're thinking about. You could have split up or went your separate ways in the past, but now there's such good communication. This is either flirting or friendship. It's like really feeling close, getting closer. Okay. Then you have the 10 of diamonds, the 3 of diamonds, and the 4 of hearts. Woo wee. This is nice. Okay, so the 10 of diamonds, there's a possibility for some long-term success going on here. I don't see the offer yet, but I see some sort of work going into something that could lead to long-term success. Okay, so you could be working on something that has that coming. Now, the 3 of diamonds is the beginning of that wish coming true, the beginning of this plan, this hope um, coming true. And it's not like the king. Well, he's sitting pretty right now. This is planning, building, working on a long term plan. You're working on it, okay? And it's not something you're going to achieve right away. This is long term, working on it long term. But the beginning of this is starting to come true. It's starting to come together. And it might result in some sort of gathering, or from a gathering. This could have been a family gathering. This could have been an event you went to, something like that, where I feel like really good intentions were felt and made to help this wish start to come true, start to happen, start to formulate. I think it happened or is going to formulate even more, come together even more at this gathering. You have the 9 of diamonds, the 9 of clubs, and the ace of diamonds. Well, there's the offer right there. So you have the 10 of diamonds, and now you have the ace of diamonds. So the 9 of diamonds is ambition. You're probably a very ambitious person. This could be a place that you're going to that is ambitious. People are ambitious there. There's money to be made, opportunity to be had, growth to happen. If you want to, you can climb the ladder in this place, but the offer is definitely coming in. Definitely. Probably this month. In the foundation, we have the Three of Spades, the Seven of Hearts, and the Ace of Spades. So the Three of Spades was obstacles, okay? Finding obstacles in your way. And this made you, for some of you, made you possibly envious. Look like people had things easier. Look like, you know, you couldn't get to where you could feel good about yourself. It was difficult for you to do that because every time you took a step, there's another obstacle, another obstacle, another obstacle, you know? And so you were getting quite frustrated, and this was hard on you. You couldn't help feel that you were getting the crap end of the deal, you know, and others, you know, why wasn't that happening to her? Why wasn't that happening to him? You know, it's kind of like that, right? But I think in the center, in the core of you, is a good soul, is a good person, right? And then the Ace of Spades. The Ace of Spades is an end. It's finality. It's something comes to an end. And I think that it's something to do with part of these obstacles, you know. I think that you are kind of getting why you've gone through this. You've had troubles, but I feel like that's coming to an end, okay? I think you were getting a lot of bad news in the past. So now for the surprise. Four of clubs, six of hearts, eight of clubs. So the Four of Clubs, I think that you may begin with some doubt, not sure which way to go. You know, you're at a crossroads, you're feeling doubtful, you're not sure if this is the right direction or not the right direction. You know, you're in that hermit energy, you're trying to find the light, see the right way. And then you have the Six of Hearts and the Eight of Clubs. So this is job talk, but I feel like it's from a relative or a friend, or you're getting some sort of help. You know, someone's helping you take the steps, I feel, in a work situation. This is where this could be an interview. This could be people speaking of you and speaking well of you. Okay. So I feel like you're getting a lot of help here, maybe behind the scenes that you don't realize and you find out later. At first, you have your doubts. You're like, yeah, well, that's people say what people will say, and you don't really carry a lot of weight with it. But I think something happens that changes your mind, and you will be discussing steps to I feel like this is more a work thing, even though these are steps in relationship, and it could be with the relationship with this person who's helping you out, who's speaking well of you. But it's job talk they're talking, you know, promoting you, okay? Promoting you. This comes of some sort of surprise to you. It may not be the person you're thinking. So we'll see. Wow, Leo, this is huge for you. And I think welcome. You know, at first you're not really sure. You're not sure if you believe it. Yeah, I've heard this before. You know, you're careful. You're like, you know, and but then you gain dignity over when you can let go of a particular idea, a particular vision, a particular belief, you realize you accept these two parts of yourself. You don't feel shame. You don't feel um, like you've done something wrong. You've learned from what you've done, and you realize, you know, that part of that is okay. And um I think you just feel really good about yourself. You have the strength to move forward, and you realize you don't have to fight with words or prove yourself or, anything like that. So, anyway, this looks really, really good. Let me know. I really always love to read your comments, and I like to know that this relates for you. I'm reaching at least some of you out there. So, anyway, happy Thanksgiving to all my American friends out there. Our Thanksgiving is in October, and it's kind of nice because we can go outside and do things together. It's still really nice weather here right now. But anyway, love you bunches. Talk to you soon. Bye now.